Hi, today we're talking about how to tell other people that your child is transgender. And when your child first comes out as being transgender, it can feel complicated when you think about telling other people or who to tell about the fact that your child is transgender. When we get together with other people, especially as parents, usually one of the first questions that comes up in conversation is, how are your kids, right? And so when we have learned that our children are transgender and we are not sharing that information with other people, it can feel like we're being dishonest to the people that we're talking to. And also, it can feel like we are being disrespectful to our kids by not disclosing that information. Like we're ashamed of who they are by not revealing that information, right? Because if we were proud of our kids and if we were being supportive parents, we would be able to tell the people that we're talking to that our children were transgender, right? It would be like a non starter. And that could not be the furthest from the truth, right? Not sharing about your child being transgender does not mean that you are not a loving and supportive parent. There's a lot of reasons why you may not tell somebody that your child is transgender or that you are waiting to do so. First of all, you need to have permission from your child to do so, and your child may not want other people to know that they are transgender. They may not be out socially yet or ever, because remember that in order for a person to be transgender, the only thing that they ever have to do is to acknowledge that to themselves, right? They don't ever have to share it with anybody else. And so your child may choose to share that information with you, but they may not be comfortable sharing it with the whole rest of the world. And that is like fully acceptable. So you may not have your child's permission to share that information with other people. And also, there may be people that you are okay talking about your child being transgender with, and there may be other people who don't ever need to know that, right? Because not everybody does. And it comes down to who do you trust to give that information to? Because not everybody is trustworthy with that information. You may not care to tell your child's elementary school teacher who you run into at the grocery store, for example. I wrote a blog post about this topic, and that was one of the examples that I used. Or somebody who was important to your child once but is no longer. Casual acquaintances, for example. Or maybe you're not going to tell a family member who has proven themselves to be a non-supportive person, right? They're not a trustworthy person, but there are people who are going to earn that right to know. And when you tell them, is a matter of your own comfort level. Like you may not be comfortable giving that information out right away because you also have to be comfortable enough to have conversations with people about it, and you may not be there yet. So talking to your child or talking to other people about your child being transgender is kind of like a journey. You have to pace yourself and go at the speed that you feel comfortable with. And it's also um, about knowing like who's going to be trustworthy with that information, and also recognizing that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind about who you will and will not tell, and when you are and are not ready to have those conversations. So there's not really like an easy answer to the question, how do I tell other people about my child being transgender? Because it's kind of different for everybody. Some people are ready right out the gate and they're like, oh, it's fine for me. Like I'm able to just have those conversations. And for some people, it takes them a long time to get there. So just know that you have to just take it at your own speed and do whatever works for you, and also respect the privacy and safety of your child at the same time. And that's really like the best advice that I have. And also, I did write a blog post about this with more coherent, organized thoughts. And I will put the link in the information box below, so you can feel free to go and read that if you would like. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'm happy to answer them. And we'll talk soon.